Ladies and gentlemen, okay, so just kind of got back to my house. I did stop to eat, but so Masters of the Universe. This is a movie that I kind of was dreading when it was announced. I was a big fan of the original movie that came out in 1987 with Dolph Lundgren, Frank Langella, however the fuck you say his name. Um, just loved it as a kid. Loved it ever since I was like 3 or 4, all the way up until I was old enough to kind of see how bad it was. But and it was fun to revisit it last year, or not last year, a couple weeks ago. I watched it kind of as I was starting my detox that I'm almost 4 weeks into now. Um, so this new adaptation, wasn't thrilled with a lot of the casting. I didn't really know what to expect, because there have been so many bad franchise movies, so many bad superhero movies, things that have intellectual property tied to it. And I just the lowest expectations going in. And then I started to see the first critical reviews come out a couple weeks ago during the premiere, and I was kind of interested. I try not to overrate any kind of critical reaction, because I've been let down so many times over the past decade with people, um, just kind of like filleting terrible to maybe mediocre quality movies. But I mean, I can't even say that it's generally mediocre movies. Even they're all terrible. So this was something I didn't really know what to expect. And then kind of looking at some of the reactions from, let's face it, accounts that traffic in rage bait and, eh, you know, kind of beat the dead horse of everything is woke, that comes out of Hollywood. And certainly there's a lot of stuff that is a little on the nose, ideologically driven, that is not at all tied with traditional storytelling, or really how you effectively make a good movie. So um sorry, I'm just kind of waiting for my camera to catch up here because it looks like it's frozen, so that's awesome. But sweet, browser lost connection to my camera, awesome. Anyway, guys, let me figure this out. It's always fun when that happens, like as you're doing something. Yeah, there we go. Hi guys. Just a little camera trouble, it's no big deal. So, you know lowest of expectations going in. The lead of the movie is Nicholas Galitzine. I hope I'm saying that right. I hadn't seen him in anything. I hadn't seen that movie where he's like a younger guy that's hooking up with Anne Hathaway. I never saw Bottoms because it just seemed like a giant waste of my time. So I didn't really know anything about the guy playing Prince Adam slash He-Man. I didn't know, you have Alison Brie. You have, Jared Leto playing Skeletor. So, this was something where I had very few expectations. I didn't know what to expect. So let me just say this. Let me just say it for the record. I was blown away. I was amazed. My jaw was kind of on the floor for how exciting and charismatic and funny and well balanced this whole movie is. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. You don't feel it at all. It flies along. It does a great job of finding these moments of stopping and sort of reflecting and building the theme, building the characters, providing that beat of an arc for Prince Adam. Uh, this is better than the Dolph Lundgren movie. This is a great adaptation of the cartoon. If you love the cartoon, I am very safe in recommending that you will love this movie. I'll give my score at the end to sum up here, but you know, uh, just the immersion into the world, into Eternia, is incredible. The CGI is so well done. And if you followed me at all, if you've listened to me talk about modern movies at all, you know how critical I am of bad CGI, bad green screen. This was impeccably done. This was done so incredibly well. The world building is fantastic. You know, you Idris Elba as man of arms. Not sure which one there, but he was really good, and he certainly provides a father figure for Prince Adam, both at the beginning and throughout the movie. You know, and what it does really well is it drops these breadcrumbs right at the beginning of story beats that it's going to kind of keep rolling with and keep coming back to really coalesce the themes and the understanding of what is at stake and what is, ultimately why you should care, why you should connect to this, why you should feel something. And, Prince Adam, he's a himbo. He's kind of a dumb guy, just a little bit, but you root for him. You want him to win. You want to see him grow. You want to see him become the man that this movie outlines from the very beginning. And, it does such an excellent job of providing the landscape for him to grow from the beginning of the movie to the end. The very beginning, he's just a little boy who is kind of trying to, learn how to fight, learn how to defend himself, learn what his world is all about, what he has to become. And of course, it's ripped away from him, by Skeletor, invading and kind of taking over Castle Grayskull. And he's sent away like Moses, um, to Earth, and he grows up over the course of 15 years. And this story has stayed with him this whole time. And of course, his friends, and he's on a date, and she looks at him like he's a fucking crazy person. And yeah, okay, you have this sort of destiny, this very much I'm trying to think of the term here real quick, and so I don't step on it, but this kind of Christ-like figure of like you becoming what you were destined to be. And Adam, as an adult, as a 20-year-old man, is insecure, has a job in HR. He's it's like you can see how this could go wrong so many ways, where it's like, oh boy, here we go. But it rejects that identity. It rejects the modern whatever feminization of what a man is. It rejects it completely with this framing, where it's like he's lost. He doesn't have a place. He's like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to be. I know the story about myself and my family, but I don't know how to basically be a man. And by the way, guys, I don't know about you. I can't speak for anybody else, for any other guy out there, but I deeply connected with this because I've as someone whose father left pretty early, it was so relevant to me. It was so relevant to what I had been through and what I've gone through, and my discoveries over the last couple of years, especially with losing weight and working out and becoming something new, becoming something self-realized. And I thought that was just so well done. And it's silly. Of course, there's definitely some deviations from the story, or digressions for jokes and humor, and for the stuff that doesn't land, it didn't detract from the overall story. It didn't detract from the character. It was they did a good job of making it into a modern sort of perspective, especially for this character, while moving towards that hero's journey, while moving to that character arc of who Adam has to become. And it's funny, it's charming, it's charismatic, it is full of funny asides, but it still leaves enough room for those dynamic dramatic moments where you want to see him win, you want to see him succeed, you want to see him grow. And he does over the course of the movie. And Man at Arms, he fails in the beginning of the movie. He is at a place where he feels sorry for himself, and he can't quite be the man that he was, even though his daughter, who's Tila, I think it's Tila, you know, doesn't see him as the same. He is diminished in her eyes somewhat because he becomes, an alcoholic, and and this is played for laughs to some degree, but also not. When they come back around to the fact that it's like a man gets back up when he falls. A man gets back up, and that's, again, this is stuff that's been missing from superhero movies, from comic book movies, fantasy movies that are, of the franchise variety, intellectual property variety, things that should sell a lot of tickets, things that baked in, it should have a fan base. And this is the complete opposite of what James Gunn did with the Superman movie, Super Bitch, basically. It it did the exact opposite. It embraces masculinity, but it embraces it in a way that is well-rounded, with humanity, with heart, with insight, with a big picture kind of intellectualization, if you will, of what it means to be a man, what masculinity really is. And it's protecting those that you love, protecting those so that they can make it through the night, as, Idris Elba's character says. And it's just like there's that, and then there's a great detail of the world building, the all the great characters that from the cartoon are there. Battle Cat, Evelyn, Skeletor, Beastman, Ram Man. I mean, all the guy with the big, the Cyclops laser guy. I mean, there you have everything, and even at the post credit scene, you get I don't know what the weird elf guy is that's like that floats around. He's there, he's there at the very end to kind of have this little fun aside. I was just, and then some of the chase scenes, some of the fight scenes, reminiscent of Star Wars slash Flash Gordon. There's so much here to chew on in an action adventure fantasy movie, and it's been such a long time since a movie like this provided all of this detail, all of these things, and gave an audience a thrill ride, gave them something to talk about, something to come back and watch again. I keep seeing reports that, this is going to do well at the box office, and that's a shame because this is the exact kind of movie that audiences have been craving, have been wanting to see. It is the best time at the movies that I've had in a really long time. And so, without trying to overrate it, without trying to be hyperbolic, this is a really well done hero movie, fantasy movie that really provides meaning, provides stakes, and it's fun. It never takes itself too seriously, but it has enough serious drama within it for you to engage and connect with it. So, man, I was just absolutely enjoying myself all, throughout the whole movie. And I'm gonna go through, some of the things that I had said, um, kind of quickly tweeting about it as I'm, trying to pay attention in the theater and not bother too many people. But there's the cameo by Dolph Lundgren, which was fantastic. It's just like, done right. It's not cheesy. It's not sort of out of place. Funny, engaging. The jokes land. They're well timed. The He-Man arc is handled smartly, never not fun, entertaining, charming. They made a franchise movie that isn't dull plotting while making it a modern adaptation that honors the cartoon. And I said the digressions don't feel out of place. CGI that looks excellent. I'm impressed. I really am. I'm probably going to go see this again on Saturday or Sunday, because it's definitely worth the price. I mean, I don't have to pay for it because I have Regal Unlimited, but I couldn't recommend this movie any higher. It's probably my number one movie of the year so far, which I guess isn't saying much because there's not really much to watch. But man, what a nonstop thrill ride. It doesn't take too long to get started. Excellent opening, presents the characters, presents the storyline. You know what it is. And yeah, Prince Adam is a himbo. He's kind of a bit clueless. He has to find himself. He has to find what his journey and his destiny is. And I think it's Tila, the main, yeah, Camila Mendez. She's very good. Her performance probably impressed me the most. Okay, she was on Riverdale and Palm Springs. Okay. Yeah, well, okay. I can actually watch Palm Springs now because I've been avoiding it for years, but she was really good. And she's the one that kind of introduces Adam to, how to get back to Eternia and how to get on the path towards reclaiming what's rightfully his in a world that's been taken over by Skeletor and his minions. and again, I can't really say enough about the movie's themes. Um, you know, talking here again on Twitter, hits the right notes in its narrative and theme about masculinity, about becoming a man, like it was made for me, finding the meaning of what that journey means and what it entails. It gets so much right where so many modern fantasy and superhero movies got wrong. Yeah, and does such a great job of that, of knowing exactly the story it wants to tell. It's not trying to appeal to all people in all ways. You know, it doesn't make that mistake. Um, they really knocked it out of the park. This is a home run. This is a home run. And I say that confidently, knowing that this is not my type of movie. This is not the type of thing that I get enamored with or excited about. But when you see it, when you see those themes so clearly and it communicates them so, in that way, man, you're reminded why movies can be so good. And this is a relatively reductive fantasy hero movie. You know what I mean? Like, but if you like that kind of stuff, this is going to be up your alley. You're going to like this. Now, again, you're going to have detractors. You're going to have people who I don't know where people even find that this is woke at all. I don't really get that at all. But, I just think that's sort of an empty criticism by rage bait YouTubers and people on Twitter. But this is fantastic. It's just great. Again, I'm trying to pump the brakes a little bit and not oversell it. But man, I had a smile on my face from the start to finish. And so I am giving Masters of the Universe a 4 out of 5, a very high score for what it is. Which I know that's probably unfair to say that, but that's how I rate things. This was an absolute home run of an execution. It got the characters right. It was funny without being jokey, like a lot of Marvel movies are. Hell, this is a better movie than Project Hail Mary. You know what? It's just because that movie was so completely dead and so personality free, and this movie is overflowing with personality and color and detail and this amazing, fantastical world. And even the talking CGI animals don't bother me that much. It's like, really, it's like, it's a fantasy. What do you want? And Nicholas, let me get his name right here. Nicholas Galitzine, really good. He embodies the role perfectly. And he goes from this guy who's sort of clueless, sort of foolish, sort of out of place into becoming Prince Adam, to becoming He-Man. And both of those, the two times he transforms are, it's not done as a joke. It's not done, subverting the concepts of a hero. It believes in its vision of its hero. It doesn't try to cut him off at the knees. And that is beautiful. That's because we've been without that. It's all about like making it a joke and making it like, oh, hey, aren't men stupid? And it's like, no, you fucking moron. They're not. They deserve respect just like any other character does. And, and it's not without, again, silliness and some jokes here and there, but they land well. It's a well-rounded exchange of those things where, yeah, there's digressions and there's comedy, but it's genuinely funny. It's like, talking about how like when he was a kid, training and everything, he's not given any breaks. He's like ridiculed and made fun of. And guess what? That's the world of men. That's the world of men, where you're constantly fucking like kicked in the balls, theoretically and literally, at every turn by other men, by the women who are, capable. You know what I mean? And it's not, by the way, that's never done in a kind of like bullshit, feminist way. It's no, these characters are believable in how they're effective and how dynamic they are. And it does all the beats how they should be done. It executes it tremendously well. So I really wouldn't understand how what fault people would find in this. Hey, if you didn't find the jokes funny, if you don't like that sort of comedic tone, that they'll do from time to time throughout the movie, okay, I can get that. If you didn't like, when Skeletor like goes inside of his head to sort of taunt him and torture him, okay, I mean, I get it, whatever. but again, none of that is enough to detract from all of the goodwill they build up for what they do with it. Um, this is just such a unbelievably entertaining, funny, fun, uh, thrill ride of a movie. It just provides and delivers on so many levels as a piece of summer blockbuster entertainment. To me, this one's going to be really hard to beat in overall value, overall quality, as just a popcorn blockbuster movie for summer 2026. So, we'll see. We've got Spielberg's Alien movie coming out that I have no interest in seeing. I can't wait for the Odyssey. That's going to be incredible. We'll see that. We'll see all the bitching kind of be irrelevant to, um, we'll see what happens with that. But I think that ultimately Nolan's going to be, whatever, exonerated. It's like, guy's coming off the best movie of his career, guys. How about you pump the fucking brakes? But this movie, Masters of the Universe, just blew me away. I mean, I was laughing, I was excited, I was engaged. I felt like I was 5 years old again. I felt yeah, I felt great. And it's been such a long time since I felt that. And the fact that it's kind of silly that it's, kids can watch it, but mom and dad will get a lot out of it. Teenagers will like it if they don't take themselves too seriously. So man, this was a knock it out of the park execution by Travis Knight and company. There's even the product placement in it with the Amazon truck running over Beast Man. It's just like, come on, man. Shit like that was just like, come on. And these things aren't lingered on. It doesn't try too hard to sort of like, hey, did they get it? Hey, did they get it? No, it keeps going. It keeps moving. And in that way, it respects the audience. Something that Hollywood has done a really fucking poor job of in the last decade plus. And yeah, I'm just kind of trying to think off the bat here if there was anything else that really stood out. But the villains are well done. The Skeletor performance, I think maybe critics gave Jared Leto a little too much credit. I mean, because he's basically hiding behind animation mostly. I think he does a great job. I think that the performance is good. It's definitely more of a cartoonish, from the cartoon type of Skeletor, and not what Frank Langella did in the live action movie. But I liked this much better than that 1987 movie, despite its charm, despite the things, I enjoy about it. This is just so much more dynamic and so much more world building. The depth. Okay, despite what it is, there is depth to that world and to the detail that is elicited while you're watching it. So while it's largely plot based, it's largely just story, expositional dialogue. Sure, and certainly if you want to criticize that, and now my camera's going out again. That's sweet. So, you can criticize it for the type of movie it is. You know what I mean? Because it is something that relies heavily on, that expositional dialogue and that plot-based kind of storytelling. But again, that's the type of movie it is. It is a, there we go. Jesus. It is that type of blockbuster popcorn movie. So taking all that into consideration, it's a strong 4 out of 5 for me. It is the best reviewed movie of 2026, in my opinion. But again, there's really not a whole lot to talk about in the given year. So yeah, go check it out. Go watch it. Yeah, again, excellent execution of the material. Great job by everybody involved. So, and that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to get on here and give my 2 cents. Man, really good stuff. And again, I really can't stress enough the whole, the theme of the movie, which is just what it is to become a man, what it is to be of service and be of value to others and to your loved ones. that it does require a humanity, that power, that ability is within you. It's not in some sword, that's a tool. It's just a tool, but it's what's inside of you. It's what resides in your heart. Um, and I found that, as much as it's, again, what the material is and everything, I found that meaningful. And that's, again, it's something that these types of movies have struggled with the last decade, the last 15 years of movie making. So if you, and again, the guys out there that are, whatever you want to say, conservative or on the right, there's a lot here that you can sink your teeth into. There's a lot here that's meaningful, about the classic hero's journey, about what it entails, about growth, about all that, while still, yes, while still having, that sense of vulnerability and loss and losing and learning from missteps, growth, progression. All of those things are right there in the movie, and they're done so well, while being a fun fantasy, epic kind of story. So check it out, man. I just had such a great time with it. I will be going back to see it. I hope it does well, business wise, but it is what it is. People aren't interested in seeing it. They're not interested in seeing it. That is what it is. But um, yeah, just very satisfied with what was put on screen. So anyway, all of that to say, June is my sci-fi month, so I'm trying to watch as many sci-fi movies that I haven't seen, as well as some classics. So I'll be watching the Paul Verhoeven movies. I'll be watching, 2001. I'll be watching A Clockwork Orange, but I do want to see things like Outland. I do want to see things like Zardoz. I do want to see things like, Forbidden Planet, things like that. Things that I have not seen yet, have not gotten to. If you have any recommendations, you can always come over to my Twitter. It's Rob_Motto, and leave me a tweet. But having said all of that, I'm done with my review. I want to write a review as well, so I'll be doing that this weekend. You'll be able to see that if you follow me on Letterboxd. Same name. So anyway, guys, take it easy. I hope you have a good weekend. It's going to be hot as hell. Stay cool. All right. Bye-bye.